Welcome, welcome everybody. Greg Peterson from the Urban Farm Fruit Tree program. Hello this evening, and I'm here with Miss Janice.
Hello, everybody. Janice Norton. I am from the Urban Farm Fruit Tree Program as well. And I'm here on the western side of the United States while Greg's back there on the eastern side, coast to coast coverage, so to speak.
There you go.
Yeah.
The curious thing for me is that I've planted about 160 fruit trees in the last 2 years since I got
Yeah.
here, and it's pretty consistent. The what we
What you've
teach,
learned.
yeah, the what we teach and what I've learned, it's consistent. It works.
Well, it's because we don't teach just for specific dates. We teach for soil, how to keep the soil healthy, how to keep
Yeah.
your ground healthy, how to notice what's happening with the watering, what's happening with the fertilizing, how to read the noise or the message that your trees are sharing. We teach it so that it becomes intuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. I'm ready. Are we going to start teaching again?
Let's do this. Let's see here.
All right. I'm going to back out so you're
All right. There we go. And just so you know, if you have questions, please drop them in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, and we'll get them handled maybe throughout, but for sure afterwards. So this is my guide, Greg's guide to choosing fruit trees, what you need to know before you buy your fruit trees. And the reason I give this class is because there's so dang many caveats. And one of them is you can go into most nurseries and every single big box store, and they will sell you a fruit tree that will never make fruit in the low desert. And that just makes me mad. So I decided to do something about it, and that would be this class. So you can find out all about our fruit tree program at fruittrees.org. All right, and this is me in 1975. That was the first year I planted fruit trees. I was 15 years old, and to this day, I have no idea why I was interested in planting fruit trees, but I wanted to plant fruit trees. So we planted 3 fruit trees or so at the Weldon House, which was near 28th Street and Indian School in Phoenix, Arizona. And the reason I love fruit trees is right here. The fruit trees are my favorite thing to grow because you plant them once and you harvest food for decades, which, what could be better than that? Why grow fruit trees? Number one bullet, plant it once, harvest for decades. And in this picture, this is an apple tree that was in the front yard at the urban farm in Phoenix. And it lived for well over 25 years and would give me 150 pounds of apples every year. And one of the things that I learned a long time ago is that the only place that lack lives is in between our ears. Because when I look at the abundance from what comes from our fruit trees and our gardens, it's just mind blowing. We had an uber abundance of cucumbers this year, go figure, here on Goodness Grows Organics. That's the name of our farm.
You
Why
said
grow fruit?
cucumbers? That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is, once you grow your own peach, for sure peach, and you grab it off of the tree and it falls off in your hand, and you take a bite of it and it splashes down your shirt and it makes your toes tingle. You'll never be able to buy a peach at the store again. And there's just something about growing our own that, first of all, when it's perfectly ripe, it tastes the best and it's most nutrient dense then. So, just grow your own. All right. Now, what I want to talk about is the true cost of a tree. And on Saturday, you're going to hear an interesting story about a guy who went to a big box store and they had a sale on quinces. And he bought 5 quinces without knowing what they were. And 5 years later, he called Tom Spellman and said, "What do I do with these?" He said, "I hate them." And Tom said, "Well, quince are something you prepare." And so this guy spent 5 years watering, fertilizing. He had the hope and the time of getting the fruit off of that tree, and it didn't work. So the point of this slide is know that you're experimenting if you're experimenting. Otherwise, go with what works. And that's what our fruit tree program does. I have been growing fruit trees for almost 50 years in the desert. What we carry in our fruit tree program, it works in the low desert if you follow our directions. So that's why I do what I do.
Except for the ones that we've marked as experimenting, but then we're
That's
upfront with you. It's experimenting.
true. And we do bring in some experiments every year or so. So, all right. Why don't some trees produce while others are rock stars? We're going to talk about three things: chill hours, rootstock, and ripening times. So, chill hours. This is a peach tree, by the way, a perfectly pruned peach in the front yard at the urban farm, still there. I know because I pruned it this last winter with the new owners. Chill hours are anything under about 39 degrees. Fruit trees, a lot of fruit trees, citrus aren't included in this, but a lot of deciduous trees require something called chill. It needs to get cold in order for the biology of the tree to decide that it's time to make fruit. And we get about 350 hours of chill in the low desert. And if you plant an apple tree that requires 800 hours chill, by the way, I was on a local nursery's website this week, and he had some 800-hour chill trees that they were selling. So just know this: you will never get fruit on that apple tree or peach tree or plum tree or apricot tree. You need a low chill tree. So all of the trees that we bring in are low chill. Next thing you need to know about is rootstocks. This isn't so easy. Rootstocks are a little bit more complicated than chill. That little white tag on that you're seeing on the tree, that'll tell you how much chill hours is required. And there's usually an orange tag, which will tell you about the rootstock. Actually, in the background, I'm just noticing this now, in the background right here, that's a rootstock tag on that tree behind it. And there are many rootstocks, and you're going to have to do your research if you decide to find a tree that is on a rootstock that we don't bring in. Just know that stone fruit is good for Nemagard is good for stone fruit in the desert. So really the bottom line here is we only bring in rootstocks that work in the low desert for both the citrus and the deciduous trees.
And we'll teach you more about rootstocks in one of our other classes.
Yes. All right. And then the third thing, and this is so the first two, chill hours and rootstocks, that's pretty common knowledge for anybody that wants to learn it. Ripening times. This is something that I discovered having spent 40 plus years growing different kinds of fruit trees in the low desert, trying everything from persimmons to avocados to pears, and seeing what works and what doesn't. And what I found was that soft flesh fruit that ripens after about July 1st has a tendency to cook on the tree. And that includes pears, because pears and persimmons for sure, but there are no early ripening varieties of pears and persimmons. So we don't carry either one of those. Peaches, we have about 10 varieties of peaches that ripen in that window. We have 2 apricots, some blends, pluots and pluaries that ripen in that window. We have 3 apples, 3 plums, 2 apricots that ripen in that time. What I found was that the apples that ripen in the fall, they have a tendency to not be as productive and are much smaller. So get your fruit trees, and we call these climate appropriate trees. Get your trees for soft flesh fruits and berries for that matter, so they're ripening before July 1st. Okay, now we're going to talk about urban orcharding. And Tom is one of our speakers this Saturday for the fruit tree launch, and he's going to be talking about backyard orchard culture. So we're going to go in deep in backyard orchard culture. So you're just going to get a little snippet today. And so urban orcharding or backyard orchard culture is about keeping our trees small. These are 2 trees that I planted in 1999 at 3rd Avenue and Roma, which is near Central and Bethany Home. And you'll notice how we pruned them so they're pruned out. They're not growing straight up. We've got them spreading out. And keeping a tree at 8 feet is ideal for managing it because they're easier to manage, they're easier to prune, they're easier to pick that way. Another thing is a standard size peach tree or a standard size any apple tree, pear tree, plum tree can be 30 feet tall and a 30-foot diameter. And on that tree, first of all, the fruit at the top of the tree is going to be bird food. And it could easily give you, a tree that size could easily give you 300 pounds of peaches, let's say. And what are you going to do with 300 pounds of peaches in a 2-week window? So by keeping trees small in that same footprint of the 30-foot tree, you can put 6 or 8 varieties and keep them small like this. And then reason number 3 to keep them small is for successive ripening. And we have a whole segment again on Saturday on successive ripening. But here is what it is in a nutshell. Basically, you lay out your ripening time so that, in this case, peaches, desert gold, tropic snow, and mid-pride, they ripen 2 weeks apart. So in mid-May, you get your desert gold peach, and we sell over 250 desert gold peaches a year because it is flat out the best peach for the low desert. It's an amazing peach. It'll make your toes tingle. It's that good. So it ripens mid-May, and then the tropic snow, which is a white peach, ripens in early June, and a mid-pride peach ripens in late June. And if you're keeping these trees 8 to 10 feet tall, you're going to get 40 to 60 pounds off of each one of them. And that's a manageable amount. One of the things that I do with peaches is I harvest them a day early so that the birds don't get them. And after you've done it a while, you can tell what a day early means. And I let them sit on the counter in the kitchen. And then the next morning, I cut them in half, pop the pit out of them, and stick them in the freezer on freezer trays. And that's the way I preserve peaches, an easy way to preserve peaches. And then you can later make pies out of them or jams or whatever, or, for sure, eat them fresh. So that's what successive ripening is about. It's, getting your fruit, and you can successive ripen fruit trees on your property all year round. The fruit trees that we sell will get you done about 8 months a year. And then there's other ones you can start playing with that'll round out the year if you want fruit all year round. So in urban orcharding, this happens to be a hedgerow. And this was my first hedgerow that I planted at the urban farm. It was I planted them 3 feet apart. That is way too close. If I was going to do that again, they would be on 6 foot centers, 5 or 6 foot centers. And I did this with citrus as well. So this is one way to do it. And we had 40 fruit trees in the front yard at the urban farm. And the front yard at the urban farm was 80 feet wide and about 30 feet deep. And how I did that was I circled the entire front yard with fruit trees. Across the front street was citrus, and down the south side was apples and peaches, and down the north side was citrus and jujubes, interestingly enough. Hedgerows is a great way to go higher density with your trees. There's this concept called multiple trees in one hole. It's where you dig a bigger hole. It's not a standard size hole. And you put 3 trees in a triangle shape, keep them small. And you could do that with successive ripening. And that works. If you have a small space, that actually works really, really well. And I get this question a lot. Multi-grafted trees. I am not a fan of multi-grafted trees because they take a lot of management. If you plant a multi-grafted citrus and it's a orange, lemon, and lime, the lemon will take over the tree in a pretty quick amount of time, unless you're out there pruning it all the time. Plus, multi-grafted trees typically are 3 to 4 times more expensive than a standard single grafted tree. So I just suggest you buy 3 trees and put them in multiple holes, multiple trees in one hole, like we just talked about. Planting distance can be anywhere from 18 inches on multiple trees in one hole to a hedgerow at 4 to 6 feet distance between them. And at 4 to 6 feet, you're going to get a hedge. And then if you want to actually be able to walk between the trees, you need to go about 10 feet apart. All right. Other things to know about fruit tree success, fruiting viability. About 15 years ago, one of my neighbors went to one of the local nurseries and bought what he thought was a pomegranate, brought it home, planted it, and 2 years later, he got my attention one day and he said, "What's wrong with this?" It happened to be an ornamental pomegranate. It made little pomegranates that were about that size. And it just frosts me. So make sure that you're buying a fruiting tree. Urban Farm Fruit Tree Program doesn't sell ornamentals. Then there's this concept of self-fruitful versus non-self-fruitful. Most of our trees are self-fruitful, which means that if you bring the fruit tree in, you plant it like an Anna apple, you're going to get a nice amount of Anna apples. You don't need a Dorset Golden to cross-pollinate it. However, if you put a Dorset Golden in, you probably are going to get a bigger harvest because they do some cross-pollinating. So make sure, and I'm going to call on you, Janice, to bring on the information on this about the notations on our website for self-fruitful versus non-self-fruitful.
Sure. So because there's been some questions about this in the past, we wanted to try and figure out a way to make it super easy to identify whether or not a tree was having a question about its fruiting viability. So if it is self-fruitful, we usually just put it up there as with an S. If it needs another tree with it, we would put an S plus. So the S plus means it's fruits by itself, but it fruits better with something else. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely. Cool. Thank you for that. And then we do have some that are non-self-fruitful. They require a pollinator. Some of the pluots and pluaries require a plum, and that is notated in our shopping cart.
Yeah. The plum blends definitely are going to need a particular one. Usually it's going to be a Japanese plum, which we do have, that will do it, that will fertilize it. And I'm actually pulling up my screen right now so I can make sure that I've got the right one. If it needs something, we put a plus. So if it's S plus, then it's good by itself, but it does better with something else. And if it's plus, then it definitely needs something else. And if
Cool.
it's E, then it's experimental because either we haven't had it long enough or there was some question about whether or not Dave Wilson can guarantee it because it just, hasn't been around for 25 years, that
Yeah,
type of thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
A pleasure.
Another thing you need to know is when's the best time to plant? And I have found in my 40 plus years that citrus, best time is September, October timeframe. They don't like the frost, but they don't like the heat more. So if we can get them in the ground and get them a good start in late September, early October, then they get established by the summertime. They'll do better that way. And then our deciduous and mesquites, we bring in mesquite trees. Our deciduous and mesquite trees come in January. And the deciduous, a bunch of them come in as bare root, which means there's no dirt around their roots. You just take them home. A tree with roots, you're looking at the roots. We package them for you so that you can get them home safely. And the best way to plant a bare root tree is the way we do it, which is you pick it up as a bare root tree, you take it home and plant it, and it buds out and roots out in the place where it's going to live the rest of its life. So the other thing is what to put in the hole, and we're going to go in depth in our planting, watering, and fertilizing class in 2 weeks on this. But here it is in a nutshell. I'm going to give you the 2-minute version just so you get a sense of it. You're going to dig a hole 2 feet by 2 feet square and a foot deep. You're going to take 40% of the dirt from that hole and put it in a wheelbarrow. You're going to get 2 bags of Farmer Greg's planting mix and put them in the wheelbarrow. And you're going to add a tree planting kit and put it in the wheelbarrow. And you're going to mix all that up in the wheelbarrow and you're going to plant your tree with that. And the tree planting kit has worm castings, azomite, and mycorrhiza in it. That's all good, healthy stuff for your trees. And then you're going to build a 6-foot diameter basin around the tree where you're going to put 6 inches of woody mulch on top. That's the process. And the reason I wanted to give you a sense of that now is because, because of this slide. Taking ownership of a tree is not about just paying for the tree. This is a living plant and it needs to be treated as such. You should expect to spend as much on supplements and soil as you do on the tree for your best success the first year. So just know that it's an investment not only in the tree, it's an investment in the supplements. And what we're doing with our process, that I just explained to you, what we're doing is we're setting that tree up for food so that it has food every day. If you're only feeding a tree once a year, it's way underfed. If you're only feeding it 3 times a year, that's a good start, but it really needs more than that. So expect to spend as much on supplements and soil as you do on the tree for your best success. And this is another thing that kind of drives me a little nutty. Sometimes nurseries, this is a 5-gallon citrus and a 15-gallon citrus, and you can definitely see the difference. And sometimes what some nurseries will do is they'll buy the 5-gallon size, they'll put it in a 15-gallon pot and immediately start selling it as a 15-gallon tree. I have an article on our website and in Root Camp called Are You Paying Too Much for Your Fruit Trees? And I go in depth in this concept. Will you put that link in the chat, Janice?
Sure, the link for which one?
This is for Are You Paying Too Much for Your Fruit Trees?
Got it. Okay, I'll get it.
Oh. So really, when you're buying a fruit tree, you're buying trunk diameter, not height or not pot size. That trunk on that citrus in the 5-gallon, and that's a good solid 5-gallon citrus tree in the picture. That's a 1/2-inch trunk in a 5, and they call them number 5 pots. They also call them 5-gallon pots. And then you'll notice the 15-gallon pot, that's more like 3/4 of an inch to an inch. That is a good solid 15-gallon tree size there. So just know what you're getting into when you start buying trees. About 25 years ago at the urban farm, I bought from an online, maybe it was 20 years ago, because they mailed it to me. It was a Asian pear. This is back when I was experimenting with Asian pears. And I paid $40 or something for this tree online. And the dang thing arrived to me, and it was the size of a pencil. It was about 2 feet tall, but it maybe was a 1/4 inch in diameter. So be really careful and be really clear about the trunk size of your trees. The nice thing is both of our growers that we buy from, Sunset Citrus Nursery down in Yuma and Dave Wilson Nursery in Sacramento, we have been buying from Dave Wilson for 25 years and Sunset for 20 years, and they treat us really well. So we get really good, nice tree stock that comes in. All right. So I just wanted to cover here a few slides on how our program works, then we'll take questions. First and foremost, we're about education. I started giving fruit tree classes in the living room at the urban farm in 1999. And that was when I had a dream to plant 500 fruit trees in the Phoenix metropolitan area. I was gonna plant 500 fruit trees in orchards in people's backyards. And so I found a buddy of mine. He had a backyard, and a large backyard, size of a football field. And I convinced him to let me plant 50 fruit trees there, which we did. And then I had to find the fruit trees. So I found Dave Wilson Nursery, and they said, yeah, great, no problem. We'll sell you trees. You got to buy 100 trees. So I bought 100 trees, planted 50 of them in Lynn's yard, and potted up 50 of them. And then people started asking me, well, how do I grow them? And can I buy some trees? Like, all right, well, let's do this. So education, we have our Saturday event, which we do every year, and we have 5 or 6 other classes that we're going to give on 5 different topics. I think the 6th class is a Q&A session, but on 5 different topics. And that's what's most important for us. And you'll find that if you buy fruit trees from us, you have my email address. If you have any questions about your fruit trees, you can snap a picture and send it to me. I am regularly talking to people. This is what I do full time. And so if you have questions about your fruit trees, send me an email. Let's chat about it.
I'm curious, how many people who are in class today have already done that? So let us
Good
know.
question. Yeah, please drop it in the chat. All right, so that's first thing. Sign up for our education and our root camp. You definitely want to sign up for root camp. Our education is free. And the reason it's free is because I want to make sure that you know how to best grow fruit trees in your yard. So we give away a lot of education. And then it's time to pre-order your trees. Our fruit tree program runs from August 1st till the first, usually the last weekend of January or the first weekend of February. It's education during all of that time. And then you pre-order your trees starting August 1st. Our citrus comes in September, and we do what's called a pop-up nursery. So we'll be open for 2 weekends. The 19th, 20th, and 21st is the first one, I think, right, Janice?
Yep.
Yep. And then the following Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be open as well. And then
Yeah,
January.
we need to cram it in. We've only got a very short window before we had some other things happen. So we've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 2 weekends in a row.
Amen. And then deciduous comes in January. Deciduous are trees that they go dormant in the winter. They lose their leaves. That includes grapes and berries and mulberries and olives and plums and peaches and apricots and apples and jujubes. I think I got most of them, pomegranates. And those all come in January. We take the first 2 weeks of January and get prepared on the lot. We've got a lot of work to do in January before your trees are ready to pick up. And then we're open the last 3 weekends of January. So that's how that works. And then we usually do a couple of times a year for a pop-up nursery for supplies. So we open up our general store and you can come down and get soil and fertilizer and that kind of stuff. The other thing is on our small stuff, you can pick that up. We have a pickup location in Glendale, in Peoria, and in Mesa on our crew's front doorsteps.
Yes, Glendale and Mesa are really easy to get to. Peoria takes a little bit of time to schedule, but yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. And what we supply, we are a fruit tree nursery. That's 99.9% of what we have. Sometimes we'll have some of our crew members bring in tomatoes and that kind of stuff, but that's not about us. We are about fruit trees and fruit trees only. We have trees and plant materials. We have organic fertilizers. We have organic soil supplements and lots of help.
I
Both,
was just gonna say that.
were you?
Yeah, the lots and lots of help is good because we have an awesome tree crew there
Oh my
to
gosh.
help. Between Greg and myself and Ray and Jordan and the other tree people that are there, we can really be there to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when I say education first, that is the truth. It's the truth for our fruit tree program. It's the truth for the Great American Seed Up. It's the truth for everything that we do at the Urban Farm because we want you to be successful. All right. Here's one thing that I do that is really cool. I've been doing it for over a decade. I've been doing them virtually for almost a decade. And that's what I call a consult. Um, Basically, what happens is you sign up for a consult and we get together on a phone call. You send me pictures and your address and we chat about your yard. And like I said, I've been doing these for over a decade. I started doing them. People would come to my house and we would sit in the driveway I don't know if you knew this, Janice, we'd sit in the driveway at the Urban Farm and look at their computer, look on the computer at their house and on Google Maps back then. And then I started, with technology, we were able to move them online. And so um, you will get so much out of a consult with me. Now, we do charge for them, and they come with a 100% money back guarantee. And literally, I have done hundreds of them over the past 10 years. And I have been giving a money back guarantee since I started, and nobody has ever asked for their money back because I go that far. I'm here to help. our team is here to help. So you can find out about them at urbanfarm.org/consults. Our citrus program is live. We have about 10 days left, maybe 15 days left on citrus.
Well, actually, we're already running out.
Yes.
And if you do want citrus, you're going to want to order quickly because we have had to close a few varieties that are not available. But we're going to be selling them up until the point that we have to close the doors for our lot.
Yeah. So it's best if you pre-order your trees. You don't have to pre-order supplements. So all the stuff that we talked about when planting, we have all your stuff to help you plant your trees. It's best to pre-order your trees, especially citrus right now, because like Janice says, we are running low. So, and I realized when I wrote this slide up today, Janice, this has been live since 2004. We're 20 years into citrus.
Hey, that's cool.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
We've been buying from Sunset Citrus Nursery for 20 years.
Celebrate. What a great anniversary. Yay.
Right? Well, and then there's the deciduous program, and it's been live since 1999. And so we're in year 25 on that. And the pop-up nursery is in January for that. All right. One of the things that we do, and I started doing these maybe 10, 12, 14 years ago, is I put bundles together. And we have the early bird peach bundle is the Desert Gold Tropic Snow Mid-Pride. And we bundle them together and give you a better price for ordering them as a bundle. So we have all of our deciduous tree bundles available. You can find them at store.urbanfarm.org and jump in and check them out. That is your best pricing. And the early bird pricing disappears November 1st. I had to think about that one for a minute. If you're ordering, this is a cool thing. We always do this for launch. If you order $150 worth of plant material, it's 150, right, Janice?
Yes.
If you order $150 worth of plant material, we give you a tree planting kit.
The
If you
starter
order-
amendments. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the starter amendments for one tree. If you order $350 worth of trees, we give you a 50-pound bag of our awesome bioflora fertilizer.
Which is on sale for $60, but worth much more than that.
Oh my gosh. It's a 50-pound bag of OMRI certified organic fertilizer. 50 pounds for $60. That is a screaming deal. And it is made out in the West Valley, so it is a local Phoenix product. What you need to know about our early bird, or what you need to know about the tree planting kit and the free bag of fertilizer is you have to get your order in by end of day Saturday in order to claim that.
And it will automatically populate if you get one of those. So if you
Perfect.
order the 150 or $148, it won't add it. But if you get to 150, 155 or 350, 355, it will automatically put it in. You don't need to put it onto your shopping cart.
Cool. All right, what's next? Oh, your next steps. All right, first of all, I want you to go to urbanfarm.org/root camp and sign up. This is our 60 lessons, Janice.
I believe that's right.
Yeah, 60 lessons. It's going to be over 70 lessons after our launch on Saturday. It's a master course on growing fruit trees, primarily in the desert. But as I said earlier, if you live someplace else in the world, all of the stuff still works. It's a free masterclass. We don't charge anything for it.
And it's set up to be at your own convenience.
Yep. Right. Oh, yeah, exactly. So if you want to know how to plant a tree, you go to the tree planting section.
Chapters, yeah.
If you want to go, if you want to go to the learn how to fertilize, you go to the fertilizer chapter. It is, Janice, you have done an amazing job with this program. So putting it together. Thank you.
Thank you. It was fun because we have so much to offer that it's got kind of chaotic trying to remember which one was where. And this
Right?
putting it all in one place really made it easier for us too.
Well, and this started about 6 or 7 years ago when we put together a 10-page printed book manifesto on,
Yeah.
and then and we printed them every year, and it was expensive to print them. And I think
Well,
you, what, maybe 4 years ago said, let's just do this and we'll call it Root Camp. Your
well,
basic
the,
training for growing fruit trees in the desert. It's like, yeah, baby.
folks, no, seriously, Greg started with like a one sheet, handing everybody one single double-sided sheet. Then it became 3 sheets. Then it became like 6 sheets. And then it became like 15 sheets. And I'm like, we're killing more trees than we're planting.
Yeah. Well, and we'll still give you, when you come to the lot, we still give you a double-sided blue sheet on how to plant your trees.
We're back
That
down to
also
one
directs,
piece, one sheet.
yep, that also directs you to Root Camp.
Yeah.
And then you place your order at store.urbanfarm.org. You pick up your citrus in September and deciduous in January. And if you want to learn all about our program and sign up for all the classes that we've got, go to fruittrees.org. And this is the ultimate goal. So the bucket in the top left, Janice, I get
Yeah.
a, I get an email from one of our clients, maybe, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and they had planted a peach tree in their yard 3 years earlier. And they sent that to me and they said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, look what I just harvested.
I've been there. I was so excited when I harvested my apricots and my
Yeah,
peaches. They were just like all over. It was yummy.
yeah. And then the bottom picture was the old kitchen at the urban farm in Phoenix, where I lived for 32 years. And those are mid-pride peaches. I know because they ripen at the same time as the Anna and the Dorset golden apples, and those are Anna apples on the counter. So there we go.
Yeah.
So do we have some questions, Miss
We
Janet?
do. Well, one person, anonymous, asked for a room to walk between. Do you want to plant 10 feet apart? I did answer that
Yes.
in the thing, but do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, 10 feet apart is good. That gives you enough space to let them grow to be, 8 to 10 feet tall and 6 to 7 foot diameter. And then you
Well,
can still walk between them.
if you're doing 6 to 7 foot diameter, then they're actually going to be touching
Not
because
if they're 10 feet apart.
oh, that's true. 6 to 7, you're going to be about 3.5 feet out, 3.5 feet out from the other
Yeah,
one. You're going to be having some space in between. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. SP is asking, do I need to do anything to the soil to prepare? Do you have suggestions for how to dig? Boy, do we have a class for you.
Oh, yeah. Planting, watering, and fertilizing for sure. In the meantime, 2 foot wide hole by 2 foot wide square and a
We
foot.
like square for a reason,
Yep, yep. And a foot deep.
but deep.
There you
If
go.
you're concerned about whether or not the soil is too dry, you can water a few days, a week ahead of time to get it nice and soft.
Mhm.
But otherwise, you can do that. If you are, we'd love, love, love for you to prepare your holes early, especially for our bare root trees, because you don't want your bare root trees sitting around while you dig your hole. So if you dig your hole before you bring your bare root trees home, it's a lot better for the trees to be able to just plop in the hole that's ready and they're less exposed to air. So yeah.
Cool.
And how to dig with a shovel.
Yeah. And then you'll want to do what's called a perk test. So you fill it up
Oh,
and make sure that it drains in
appropriate time.
in a couple hours to 24 hours. If if you're still have a full hole after 48 hours, dig a bigger hole.
I can't believe that so many times I'm not the one that brings that up. You're the one that always brings that up, and I'm not the one that does that. I learned that lesson the hard way. Maybe I have a little blind spot for it.
There you go.
Anonymous says, oh, this one's a fun one. I'm gonna actually go to Dana. Dana says, I ordered mine and was wondering if you have the pickup dates yet. Yes, go to the store homepage and scroll down to the bottom, and you will find the dates for the citrus pickup.
Citrus pickup.
Citrus pickup.
We will not have the deciduous pickup until until probably the end of the first week of January.
I think I'll have something set up, but yeah.
Well, it depends when our
Anonymous.
trees arrive.
Yeah, Anonymous says, I have a completely vacant lot, save for a few mature mesquite trees. I want to do 2 rows of fruit trees of mixed varieties. Do you have any
Mhm.
recommendations for how to arrange them? I think first question is, when you're talking mixed varieties, Anonymous, are you looking at just mixed citrus and deciduous, or just citrus, just deciduous? Let us know which ones you have, because that can have an impact on how you put them.
Yeah, I generally put citrus together and deciduous together. And with the deciduous, I typically put apples together
Mhm.
and stone fruit together. Stone fruits are anything with a pit in the middle of peach, apricot, plum. Um, look at the space. Oh, here's one thing I would
I have an
absolutely,
idea too.
okay. Here's one thing I would absolutely do is if you have a vacant lot that has critters that could come onto it, I wouldn't put one, I wouldn't put a fruit tree over there and 40 feet away, put a fruit tree over there and 40 feet away, put a fruit tree over there. I would put them all together in an area.
Now,
Uh,
considering what is on the other side of any side of your vacant lot, there are one ways you can do it is you can line the edge. If you're sitting on one side and you're looking and the other side is considered your backside, put your citrus along the backside and then put your deciduous in front of it. And that way you basically have created a hedge that will give you the privacy, because citrus is year-round green and the deciduous will lose its leaves. So now you've created an effective wall, so to speak, from whatever's on the other side, because your
well,
citrus can become a beautiful hedge.
and yeah, citrus make a pretty dense hedge
Mhm.
that, guess what, has thorns.
Yeah, that's true. Some of your citrus have very, very big thorns.
So
Um,
that would have a tendency to help keep out critters.
yeah. So
So,
there you go. You've got some options there. If that doesn't answer your question, the very next answer can help you even further. urbanfarm.org/consults. Greg would
yeah.
love to spend some time talking about a vacant yard, what you've got, because of course, Greg and I are both permaculture trained. He's got years, decades. I could go further, but that would be funny. He's got a long time of putting in permaculture consults and can really help you plan out your yard.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a lady maybe 10 years ago come to me and do a consult. And when we got done, she said, "Oh my gosh, I so wish I would have done this before I spent $1,000 on fruit trees that died."
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Just saying.
I get
And oh,
that.
Saturday, we're going to be giving away some consults.
Yes. Let's talk about Saturday real quick. Okay, so this class is going to be recorded. It's going to be put in the Root Camp. So if you are listening to this class in the future, it is not September 3rd, 2024. You're listening to later. Every year we have our fruit tree kickoff. Every year we have some giveaways. So this year, I'm going to go look at my list. Greg, do you remember what we have?
No.
No.
It's some consults, some tree planting kits, some trees.
Is that all?
I can't remember.
Okay, so what I have, oops, I got the 2023 one. Darn it, 2024. Oh, I can't find it. All right, so we got the
Well,
consults, we got the fruit trees, and we've got some books. We got a couple of books that we're giving away,
oh,
and yeah, and
all
and
right, good.
fertilizer, yeah, good stuff.
And then if you spend 150 or $350, we give you a tree planting kit and fertilizer on top of it. So All right.
All right.
Oh, SP wants to know where it's taking place on Zoom.
Zoom. You can go to urbanfarm.org or fruittrees.org and you can get to our event calendar and you can sign up there.
Yeah. In fact, isn't there a button at fruittrees.org to sign up for
There is.
all of the classes for the fall? We will be giving weekly classes through the end of September into October. Just like this, talking about, different topics. And each class is different. So,
Yeah. And you know what? If you had one of these classes before, taking it a second or a third time will just help you understand the concepts even more.
yep,
Because
there you
that's
go.
how you get it. You get it listening to it a couple, 3 times. I found my key thing. We've got okay, come on, load.
All right, I think we're good, Miss Janice.
Almost $800 worth of stuff giving away, Greg.
All right, nice.
Nice, yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. All right. Donna's signed up for all the classes. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Donna. We'll
Here.
see you there.
And we'll see you guys on Saturday, starting at 9 a.m. sharp.
Tell a friend. There's room for
Yes. Oh,
everybody.
please share it with your friends, for sure.
We want to make a difference on the whole valley. Plant. Wait, how many trees did you want to plant?
I wanted to plant 500 and we planted over 80,000.
I know.
Nice.
I'm so excited to be part of that.
All right, Miss
All right,
Jan.
folks.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.